Hey guys, this is me, David. Welcome back to the Infinite Canvas podcast. Now, when it comes to the world of gods and mythical creatures, the reason why many people like to create worlds behind these beings is because there's no right or wrong way to do it. Everyone likes to do it their own way and try to add their own little twist. And that's what me and John are going to do today. Today is a special episode only because we're going to actually go back to our previous episode and take each other's stories and try to see if we can make it a little bit better. John will be taking my story and I'll be taking his story. And here you can see how we both work together when it comes to create our own personal story like Curse Quest or any other future comics we've decided to create. So, again, if you are ready, enjoy episode 4. Thank you. Welcome back to the Infinite Canvas podcast. This is David Foz here.
And I'm John Venegas. I'm really glad that you guys stuck around for us after our 1 week little break. We're going to be doing that basically every week now. Our episodes are going to be coming out every 2 weeks. So today's episode is coming out November 28th. Next episode will be out December 12th. Just a heads up for you guys. David, we wanted to talk today about fixing our stories from last time, right?
Yes. Basically, trying to see if we can make each other's stories a bit better, or see if we can solve any problems we saw in our stories, or in each other's stories.
This is a great opportunity to let the audience learn how we work together on stories. A la Curse Quest, Pantheon, which I don't think we're going to be doing that anytime soon. Probably not, if we ever do. That might, split off into other things.
Yeah.
And you kind of just understand how come projects take a while, and not just because I'm lazy and, I just don't get projects done on time, but also because sometimes we may not agree on something. Sometimes the visions that we have might conflict with how we originally interpreted them, and then projects and ideas have to be dropped at some point. And only reason I say that is because 10 minutes before we started recording today, David was telling me about how he was going to fix my story, and I was already mad.
Well, it wasn't pretty much fixing. It's just that I took characters out, and when I told you that, you had a voice like, "Why you take my characters out, man? They're my characters."
Well, they're not even my characters. They're characters that were already in the story that needed to be in there. It's not Gilgamesh, is it? Did you take him out?
I'll get to the characters I took out when we do this.
Alright. I don't think we have to recap exactly what our stories were, other than I basically made mine the sci-fi epic of Gilgamesh with the prequel about his mom. So there you go. That's it.
I mean, if y'all want the better understanding of the stories that we did change, you can always go back and listen to the first our episode prior to this, just to get enough backstory on this. But I mean, I'll go ahead and at least touch upon what you said in your own episode. I mean, in that episode.
Or if I could recommend, actually read the book. It only takes 3 hours, and I'm a slow reader, so if you're a fast reader, man, that's probably an hour. That's like a movie.
Wait, you took it from a book?
It's a really old story, David. It got written down in a book at some point.
I thought that was all made up by yourself.
No, why do you think it sounded good? I'm just kidding.
What?
The Gilgamesh part was from a book. That's why I barely talked about it.
Okay. Okay.
The Anunnaki so the Anunnaki are already kind of common knowledge when it comes to people who know about the ancient aliens theory. So there's that. The flood, the deluge. That just came about separately. That's kind of my thing. I didn't explain what the deluge looked like. I didn't realize I should have. I was kind of imagining a space whale. And it kind of goes And that's how it like unleashes the psychic energy. I was kind of hoping that it would be the same whale from Jonah and the Whale, but I'm getting ahead of myself.
Okay. For a minute, I thought maybe they were like weird minotaurs, maybe, because you said they were like monsters, but not monsters, or creatures, but not like creatures. So I was just thinking like a weird hybrid of like a minotaur, maybe, or like a exotic like deer or something.
I mean, if I'm gonna be honest, like I was thinking of Kyogre. Like that's the best thing I could think of to like
Yeah,
visualize it.
yeah, that's what I meant. I couldn't put my finger on that. That's what I meant.
Kyogre's pretty whale-like, so I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to envision it just being Kyogre, then just
Oh wait,
envision it that way.
I thought that was that weird three-headed thing. You know?
No, Kyogre's the water Pokemon from Sapphire and Alpha Sapphire.
See, I was thinking about. Isn't it called the same Kyogre? That card that Yugi always used. He fuses those three beasts. Oh, Chimera. That's what
Chimera. Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Chimera.
Just want to make sure that my mic wasn't muted forever.
Okay.
No, it's not a Chimera. It's it's more like Kyogre, really. It's very it's probably leathery, but I'm getting ahead of myself.
Okay. Well, John, I changed it to a Chimera.
I'm kind of hedging because it's like going to the doctors and like having the doctor tell you things you don't want to hear. So I'm gonna try my best to just be quiet and let you go through your critique of my story and like just get it over with, and I will rebuttal afterwards so that I don't keep interrupting you. You may go ahead.
Okay. So, if I remember correctly, I kept the whole story from the beginning to the end, somewhat similar. And like I had told John, I did take some characters out of it, and I changed some characters' roles around, just because that's how it seemed more fluid that way for me. I didn't put any fantasy in there because I didn't want to. I kind of already liked the world how it was, and I didn't want to interrupt it with something that didn't feel like it belonged there, which was fantasy. So again, mostly everything is gonna be the same. You still have the Anunnakis, which are these god beings, and you still have the deluge, except I put I think you mentioned him being Ninsum's father, which was
Ninsum is the mother.
No, you said Anus was Ninsun's father, correct?
Oh yeah, yes.
Okay. Yes. So I actually made him have a bigger role in this story. But again, the not father-daughter relationship, but I kind of wanted to keep that a thing, just as a almost like, I don't know if you would call it a teaser or something like that, but something like just to nod to the real thing, real world quotation marks. They're father and daughter. In this world, they're not, but they have like somewhat of a close relationship as if they were one. Right. Okay, so I decided to take this task on the same way I did my story and make this like a first issue. But it is I decided to do it as a graphic novel. Like this is gonna be one graphic novel. This whole story is gonna fit in there. Doesn't leave any room for the next one, or at least leaves a bit room for a new chapter, something like that. So it starts off the same. The Anunnakis have come to this world, and they're treated as gods because they're these beings that no one understands. And usually, when people don't understand something, they either are afraid of it or they start worshipping it. And so they do that with the Anunnakis, and they're being worshipped. And the book starts off with like a brief history explaining how the lives of all of these villages were crappy. They suffered through hunger, starvation, droughts, and stuff like that. But when the Anunnaki came, their powers brought joy to their lives. They didn't suffer from starvation as much. There was no droughts. Their technology helped fix their lands, and in return, they worked for them. They mined the land for resources. They gathered all the stuff they asked for. without asking any questions. They return, they gather resource, and they got food and water, basically. And so there's one person in this village or in this world that does not choose to accept them, and that is Ninsum. So she still has that role of being, uh, you know, of seeing these Anunnakis as something else. So she doesn't choose to worship them, and so she's actually causing a revolt against them, or she's trying to build a revolt, and so she's trying to win people over to her side and have them basically turn against the Anunnakis. But no one's listening because she has no proof of them being false gods or anything like that. Uh, and so she's not winning many people over. Now the Anunnaki, they like the simple life. They don't want things to be difficult, so they task one of their I guess members, which is Anus, to go and basically talk to Ninsum. Have her talk her down from what she's doing, because they're kind of afraid that maybe she is going to win people over. And so Anus' role in the story is that he is trying to talk her down from building a revolt. They're becoming almost friends. Is the only being that Ninsum actually like accepts or doesn't mind being around is Anus. And Anus in return is trying to tell her, hey, we're not the bad guys here. We're trying to make your world better. I mean, we're not doing anything wrong. Y'all work for us, and in return, we bless y'all with food and water and with a happy life. Ninsum, it's in return saying like, but no, it's not fair for you to treat us like slaves. We need more rights than that. But it becomes back and forth. They're not arguing like rudely to each other. They're just having like a calm discussion. It gets to the point where Ninsum is actually starting to win people over. Life is getting a little bit worse and worse, and they're forcing them to work more and more. The Anunnakis are making the humans work more and more. Some people are not liking that, and they're finding out that life is beginning to split differently among the village. So you have like richer people or people that are gaining more, not working as often, and leaving that to be to the lesser people, as you can say, like the poor people, have them work. And so now there's conflict between the village. That's how Ninsum starts gathering her people, people to throw a revolt against the Anunnaki. It's like, see, look, they're treating all these higher people as their equal, but yet they keep us poor people down. Us people that live on the outskirts of their temple or mother base, they're keeping us down. We need to change this. And so she's winning many people over, and there's starting to be like fights and like, okay, so I think it was like they start having small fights, small battles start occurring, and it becomes a nuisance for the Anunnaki, and they're kind of getting annoyed. They're like, we came here just for a simple harvest, basically. This small revolt is starting to become a problem for us. Many of them are, they're like, we'll let things play out, see how things go. And the other half, or a few of the other half, don't want things to continue. They don't want to see how things end up. They want to change things because they want, they want their resources now without any kind of issue. And so I kept that idea you had of a few of them coming up with a plan, and it's the same plan that you had mentioned in yours, where they're gonna take this deluge and use that to wipe as many people as they can. While this is happening, Anus is the one that finds out that this other half of the Anunnaki are planning this. I think you had somebody else. I forgot who you said you had. Is the one that is forced to follow them, and this one is Anus. Anus is the one that's forced to follow him, and the reason I had him be the one that's forced to follow him or follow them is because in the beginning, you will make Anus and Ninsum have like this relationship build, like friends, like best friends, and that is what is going to be played off of later in the book. And yeah,
I know I said I wasn't going to interrupt you, but I think it's kind of going to be kind of hard to do.
why?
Anu's like their captain.
Oh, I didn't know that was the captain.
So like, yeah, Anu's the captain. He's captain leader guy. It'd be kind of hard to have him be the one forced to do that, because he could just easily just like discommunicate them and be like, yeah, no, how about no?
Oh, okay. I did not know he was a captain. Well, in this one, he is not a captain. I give the captain to the other dude then. I forgot who you said had this role.
Enki.
Okay, yeah. Enki
is Enki is the creator god, but he's not like the what?
Well, I was gonna say I'll just switch the roles around and have Enki be the one that is the captain, and now Anus is not a captain. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, Enki, I believe I could be wrong, but I believe Enki is a creator god, but Anu is like the top god. Like, it's not like the same god.
Oh, okay. Well, that's an awkward thing.
Just keep rolling with what you got. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, in mine, I guess he's not. I demote him then. He's no longer a captain. But he's forced to follow them, to follow their plan. And I wasn't sure if you actually mentioned that if they have a way to die or if they can't be killed. But
if they are if the others deem them unworthy, they can just be stripped of their life. Mm-hmm. But conventional method, no. Like, if you kill one, there's
okay.
Your soul basically has to be banned from their mothership, essentially.
Okay, so yeah, that wouldn't really affect much then. So let's see, where was I? Okay, so yeah, so Anus would be the one that's gonna be forced to do that, and since again, I did not know if they actually had a way to be killed, so I did give them a fault in the way they live, or in the way they have immortality. Okay, so if it's like you said, if they do die, their souls are stripped from their body and sent back to the mothership, and is basically put into a new body. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, that's still the same. Except I changed it just a little bit, and so I made it so that this is all science and technology based. So since there's no magic to it, I also there could be some flaws to this way of doing things, like a little bug that they're not 100% sure how to fix. And one of the things that happens when a Anunnaki dies and basically put into a new body is that it's not a clean process, and during the process they have a chance of losing some of their memories. Not current memories, nothing of important. Anything that's considered useless or old memories, the machine or the thing that puts them back together doesn't take that as priority, so it just deletes it or like leaves it out. So that doesn't really have much effect if you die now. I mean, if you're reborn now, if you're to die again like within that few hours and then put back into a body, you won't lose that much of your past. But the longer you do live and the more like memory or the more knowledge you gain, you risk losing more of your past. And I had made it so that Anus, since going through this process of becoming an Anunnaki, he has never died, or has never had to resort to putting his soul into a new body. So he's
Mhm.
lived for a very long time. And the
So is he living or is he a machine?
no, he's still a machine. Um,
Okay, okay.
yeah, but
He just hasn't gotten a new
he's
body.
his body has never been destroyed or anything. He's never had to be replaced again or put into a new body. He
Right.
so he's lived for a while and he's gained a lot of memory and knowledge, and so they threaten like the traders. Putting like air quotes around here because I really think they can be considered traitors. But the ones who want to uh, kill, humanity, those Anunnakis, they threaten a noose, telling them, hey, you've lived for so long, or you haven't, your machine body has lived so long. How much memories or how much of your past you think you'll lose if we kill you now? I mean, we'll let you go back to your body, but how much memories do you think you'll lose? And he's afraid because I changed up his history too, and I have it so that again, Anus has lived for a long time, and so he can't really recall a lot of his past. That's the drawback of being immortal. You build so much memories; it's really hard for you to recall your past. And the few things he does remember about his past is his wife and kids. Uh, they they don't live anymore. They did not survive the process of being turned into an Anunnaki in their home world. They did not survive that process. Their wills were not strong enough, and their souls just uh, disintegrated away. And that's the oldest memories he has. So he's afraid that if they do kill him, he will lose the memories of his family, of his kids. And so that's how they force them to follow him, or to follow the traitors. Again, Anus doesn't want this plan to go through because his time he spent with Ninsum, you know, from the first time they met to now, he has grown to love, or not love, but to care for humanity. He was like, these are wonderful creatures in his eyes, were considered just creatures. Like, these are wonderful, kind of cool little beings. I don't want to see them be wiped out. So behind the backs of the traders, he goes and visits Ninsum, and the traders don't see that as being like suspicious because he's always done this. He was in task to always go and try to talk Ninsum down from her revolt, so that's why they don't consider that as being suspicious. This is just a normal day or normal routine for Anus. Now, what Anus is actually doing is he's going to Ninsum and telling her all their secrets. Who they really are, where they really came from, how they became these gods that these people think they are, and the process in which they become it. And
Probably using simpler words than what we were using.
and and he's telling them that you need you need to stop what you're doing. There's other beings who are getting tired of you, and you risk the lives of all your families and friends. So I tell you this as a warning. And so he leaves, and instead of taking this as a warning, Vinsum uses this to build her revolt. She takes all the secrets that Anus gave her, and spreads that out to the rest of the people to build a bigger revolt, a stronger revolt against the Anunnaki. The traitors, Anunnaki, quickly figure out this is the news doing. How else would Ninsum know these secrets, know stuff that no one else should know other than them? And so they go after him. At this time, Anus also figures out that, it's not going to take them a long time to figure out it was me that spilled all these secrets. So he leaves. He escapes the mothership and makes it back to Ninsum. He goes back to Ninsum pretty mad because she basically told all his secrets to the people when he wanted her to take this as a chance for her to step down from what she's doing. She was trying to save humanity's life by telling her everything and please, knowing maybe that's enough to please her. Step down from what you're doing because you risk all of humanity's life. But she didn't, and she made things worse because now the Anunnaki that are trying to wait things out and see what happens, they're starting to get annoyed, and the traders Anunnaki, they're trying to rush their plans forward. They're trying to hurry up and get their plans done quicker, just so that they won't get caught. Or I mean, they're gonna get caught if since they're not, they're not taking their time and covering their tracks. But it's one of those things where hey, we need to do it now before things get even worse. And so, once Anus actually goes back to Ninsum, he actually goes back with like materials to help build the ark that you had said, and he goes
a
like
lifeboat.
yeah, a lifeboat. They called it a boat. Anus always refers to it as an ark. He's like, no, it's an ark. It's not a boat. It's an ark. So yeah, when he goes to Anus and tells him, I was trying to help your people, but you just ruined it. I at least have something to help save you, and at least your small little village or whatever, or wherever she lives. This will at least help protect you from what the trader Anunnakis have planned. And so, with the help of the people, they help quickly form an arc. I mean, it's something that like their normal plan probably would have taken a good amount of months to set forth, but when they rush things, it takes like maybe like a month to get everything set in place. And for story reason, it also takes them a month to make the arc. They use that in just the same way as you had your ending. They have the fight. Their Anus is like, we need to go and kill this deluge. Yeah, we need to stop it. So y'all can actually live in this world, because as long as that thing is out, nothing can live outside of this arc. And so same thing happens as you had yours. There's a fight scene between Anus and the other Anunnakis that are trying to protect this deluge. The only difference is that things are not going for the good guys, and Anus is like, I need more help. I cannot do this by myself. He has a I wasn't sure how the deluge powers worked, or how their powers worked 100%. So again, I thought this was gonna be like a minotaur or like a exotic elf kind of a thing that had horns growing out of it, or something like that. So,
but now that it's more like a whale, it's kind of different.
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of weird that I had said that. Oh, he grabs a piece of the Anunnaki's horn or something like that. Even though, since you just did clarify he's going to be a whale, it's kind of a weird thing to have horns on a whale. But
I mean, narwhals exist. Just go for it. Give it some horns.
I guess that's true. That's true. So okay, yeah, I guess the the deluge whale has horns on him, and so I treat that as in the power is emitted through the horn, and it's kept within the horn too. During the process of building the ark, Anus was also building a body. First you were thinking that maybe it's a body for him to jump into in case he died, but he actually built it in case he needed help. And he takes the horn of the deluge and plants it on Ninsum, and extracts her soul and puts it into the body of the machine body that he built. And so that's how Ninsum becomes, a god, an Anunnaki.
Oh, okay.
And so together they're able to fight off the traitors and kill the deluge. At this time as well, Gilgamesh is just a kid. like very little kid.
Dang, son. It's gonna be kind of awkward how he's gonna be a kid for 60 times 4 is no, not good, but 240 years.
He's like 7 years old.
He's the fifth king of Uruk after the deluge. So, he's a young man 5 generations after the flood.
Okay. Well, what the history doesn't tell you, there's actually 2 floods, and
oh my god.
Okay, he's a kid because he has to be a kid here. He's like 7 years old, and during this whole battle, he sees Anus do this to his mother, and like, since he's a little kid, he doesn't understand what's happening, so he sees that as Anus just killing his mom. He doesn't see what happens to his mom. He doesn't see the process of her soul being extracted and put into a new body. All he sees is his mom get touched by some weird thing, fall dead, and that's it. And so he grows up thinking that the Anunnaki killed his mom. And that will feed into, book 2 of this. Or, the sequel to this graphic novel. But
right.
Gilgamesh is not in the story at all. This is like the only part he's in. And that's the character I took out.
Did you edit any of the Gilgamesh story, or did you just edit Ninson's story?
Just Ninson's. I literally left just Gilgamesh out of this.
That's fine. No, Gilgamesh isn't in Ninson's story, so I hadn't planned on him to be in the story. I did plan on Ninson to be in Gilgamesh's story.
She is. She does. Because the story ends with they beat the they beat the bad guys, and so Anus promised Ninsum that with this, she was always curious. She always wanted to know who these beings were. She cared about the secrets of the world, and so as a gift to her, don't return back to this world. Don't return back to Earth. You'll be on the mothership for the rest of your life, but you'll have internal access to everything, the knowledge of the whole world. And I thought Ninsum was that kind of a character who wants to know everything, or at least wants to have the understanding of everything. So she takes up this offer, and that's why Gilgamesh thinks that his mother is dead, and that leads his role in wanting to have his revenge against the Anunnaki, and that leads to the other part of the story you had given in the last episode. It's just that I didn't want to introduce Gilgamesh in here because those felt like 2 different stories.
No, that's fine. Are you done with your thingamabob, or did you have more stuff?
No, that was pretty much it. I kind of.
So no, I think it was good. Considering I didn't really do a lot to her story, other than just a couple of quick things. I really wanted to just kind of explore the creatures themselves.
Yeah.
But I really like how you did that. The story of how she's connected to the gods on an emotional level, and it was a little bit better than just she's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
I recently reread through the Gilgamesh story just because what I did previously was kind of based on memory, and you can only trust memory so far.
Yeah.
And so then I had totally forgotten about a bunch of stuff, and I kind of wanted to reincorporate it into there. And I know that I don't think you had anything to add for your story, right?
No.
I just want to briefly touch on stuff that I wanted to add to mine. It's not going to be very long. First off, I forgot about Humbaba. Humbaba is a monster that Gilgamesh and Enkidu kill for literally no reason other than, hey, yeah, dude, we're bros, right? Yeah, dude, you know what I want to do? It's like, what? I want to go to the forest and kill the most evil creature that lives there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and so they do that, and so then I thought it'd be kind of cool if Humbaba, and I'm really glad that you pointed out the whole memory thing, because I
Mm-hmm.
kind of wanted Humbaba to be an exiled Anunnaki. He's not welcome back on the mothership, and so if his soul is destroyed, he is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the way Humbaba would operate is that his mind, his machine, has basically been desecrated. It's running low. It doesn't operate properly, and so then its functions have changed. It doesn't remember who Humbaba was,
Mm-hmm.
and it just runs on just pure emotion and rage.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that they describe it in the book is that he breathes. He breathes like a flood. And so, I thought it'd be kind of cool if he had very deluge-like powers. Not the deluge himself,
Yeah.
but if he had some similar aspects to it. That he can also breathe. Supposedly he could breathe fire. So it's like, oh, that's cool. That's just lasers.
Yeah.
And so then I thought it'd be kind of cool to have him in the forest, and that's where the way that the story is set up. Gilgamesh and Enkidu go to a smith and get a bunch of weapons. And I was thinking, I mean, there's nothing saying they could have just gotten some Anunnaki weapons. Get some really cool like laser edged swords and stuff. Stuff like that. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, not swords, but Gilgamesh actually carries around axes. So,
Okay.
I thought that would be kind of cool. He has a bow and arrow. So, crossbow, I guess. Be much more useful than a bow and arrow.
Okay. It feels like you're describing the Kratos from God of War.
There you go. He's like Kratos from God of War. Thing is though, is that he doesn't kill for rage. He kills for sport. Because remember, Gilgamesh is just he's like Cusco from The Emperor's New Groove. He just likes to have fun and just be himself and just be goofy and stupid, and it's like that's how he perceives himself, but in reality he is a terror to society. He doesn't kill or hurt anyone for vengeful reasons. He does it for sport. Until Enkidu dies. He gets injured by by Humbaba.
Mm-hmm.
And thing about Enkidu is that he doesn't really use weapons too much. He's more like a brute strength guy.
Yeah.
I had to re-edit something because I thought that Enkidu was huge, but apparently he's shorter than Gilgamesh, so he's actually really short. He's like a Danny DeVito kind of character. Oh God, he's like Danny DeVito from Hercules, the little goat guy. Actually, exactly like that. Now that I think about it, considering Enkidu is a bull man. So just imagine the short guy from the satyr from Hercules, but muscular and with bull horns. And there you go, you got Enkidu. He gets injured by Humbaba. Doesn't die immediately. It's more of a slow death, slow process, and eventually succumbs to to death itself.
Yeah.
I had wanted to introduce Ishtar, who I could be wrong, but I believe is the daughter of Anu, and Ishtar is kind of she like falls in love with Gilgamesh. But Gilgamesh doesn't want none of that because Gilgamesh isn't into chicks for some reason. Other than
as in like not into.
He's
just
not into
nothing?
a serious relationship. No, he explicitly has sex with multiple women.
Oh, okay.
Women who are married to other men.
Okay.
Or no, he has the right to do it to women before they're married to their husbands. Which is actually the reason why Enkidu wants to kill Gilgamesh at the beginning, because he thinks that's wrong, and he's like, hey, yo, I'm gonna go kill this Gilgamesh guy really quick. That's wrong, yo. And, that starts there. Their battle is described in very, very weird homoerotic way for some reason. But I guess that's what happens when you write things in the ancient past. It talks about how their bodies are tangled and there's sweat dripping everywhere. I don't know. It's kind of weird. If that's your cup of tea, well, I guess that's cool. But,
Sean, I thought you were reading a book about gods, not 50 Shades of Grey.
I mean, it's the oldest story ever told. The very beginning has a lot of weird sex stuff. Enkidu sleeps with a woman, but like he's still a bull man, so that's kind of weird. I guess she was into furries before furries existed. All right. I don't think I had anything else to add on to that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now on to my fixing of stuff on yours.
I was really I was really excited for this day because I wanted to know what changes you would make on mine.
Right. So normal changes. For anybody who's not familiar with us, David is not good with names.
You didn't change the character's name, did you?
I definitely changed the character names.
Man. I actually really loved these characters' names. I mean, yes,
like,
they're crappy.
other than telling me that they are based on the Aztec gods, I have no indication to believe you.
Oh, I mean, did we not state at the beginning that the Aztec gods tend to have a lot of Q's and a lot of letters in their names?
Yes,
I mean,
they do.
I didn't want to sit there and pronounce them, or at least try to pronounce them for like an hour.
And that's, I mean, you read anime. You watch anime and read manga. There's weebs that learn how to say, Tokudashi, or whatever that guy's name from My Hero Academia is, who has the three names that are exactly the same. Anyways, there's a lot of weird names in anime, and people get them. It's just a matter of learning them. I don't remember anime names, but ever, unless they're like the main character or their best friend. Other than that, you gotta like describe the character to me when you talk to me about them. So, I did that. I changed a little bit of stuff, not too much. I added some stuff.
Okay.
I didn't actually change the sins of the 3Gs too much. I did give
3Gs?
God a name. I don't want to say the whole thing every time. God, glory, and gold. But I gave God a name. If you recognize the name, then you did do your research. If you don't, then I'm disappointed in you because I did a lot of research on this. Okay. So originally you had the 4 characters that are brothers: Torch, Mask,
my
King,
favorite,
and Zalis.
I gave up on that one.
That's okay. He's actually a part of this story and is kind of important.
Okay.
So Torch, he is still known as the Torch. I kind of kept everyone except for Zalis' name. Because they are titles for them.
Okay.
So, if you want to call them Torch, Mask, I think you said Keen, but I changed it to King.
King?
So, King, like, how do I say in Spanish? Like, but I realize most of the listeners don't speak Spanish. Lord. You get the idea. And then the 4th one was Zalas, and I don't know what that was supposed to mean, so I just called them the Flayed. Flayed?
Faith?
Flayed. Like, you know what a flail is?
Yeah.
Like, when you hit yourself on the back a bunch of times, like that. The Flayed. So, Torch, his real name is going to be Totek. He has a lot of names, and so then I just went with the easiest to pronounce one that is literally 5 letters and has the last 3 letters of the word Aztec. So if you can't remember that, that's on you, not on me.
Totek.
So Huitzilopochtli's name is going to be Totek. He is the god of war, sun, and fire. We already know this.
By the way, good. You did pretty good at the pronunciation of that name.
I stumbled, but I practiced a lot on all of these names because I didn't want to sound like a
practiced
jerk.
a lot on how to say Huitzilopochtli, and I could not even say it on that day of the recording.
That's because you keep saying pooch. You keep saying poochli.
It's not Poochli?
It's pochli.
Pochli. Oh.
Potato.
Potato.
No, not the... Anyways. So Totek is seen as a... It's fine. Totek is seen as a generally unforgiving god who requires physical sustenance from his worshippers. He is super big on sacrifice, and it's actually really important for this whole overall story I don't know how long you wanted to make the story. It will run forever, but I'm kind of envisioning it with an ending.
Yeah.
And so then, I know it has a lot of similar beats to like the Gilgamesh story. I'm sorry, like for little things that I'm adding, but I feel like they're kind of necessary. But I feel like the characters will like learn about these things differently anyways. So it's one of those things like it's the same themes, but they're presented in different worlds, in different environments, by different people. So their responses are vastly different.
Okay.
Now that Totek has witnessed the death of his brother, Tezca, the Mask, which, by the way, his god name is Tezcatlipoca, who is the god of providence, darkness, and night. Now, providence is divine protection from a deity over their people. Now, that's important, because the moment that he is killed, and people are aware of this, the Aztec population is like, well, our divine protection from God has apparently been destroyed.
Okay.
And that kind of like signals to people that they're basically effed. There is no way that they are going to survive this, symbolically speaking, because their protection has been destroyed. Totek now kind of understands that even though they are gods, they're not immortal. They can be killed. I mean, I guess by technicality they're immortal, but they're not indestructible.
Yes.
And so then he has to stop treating the world like a game, because he realizes that it's not a game. Now, he has... I was kind of envisioning him dying at the end, considering he's the god of sacrifice. And what better way to learn about to learn about how it's kind of an evil thing, really? Not evil, but it's it should be a frowned upon thing. He kind of realizes that it's vastly unnecessary and kind of just ends up sacrificing himself at the end. I guess you could say in a Jesus kind of way, but not really. I mean, the parallels are there. I am sorry. He's the main bad guy is Lucifer. Of course people are gonna think that. I mean, and so then.
No, I'm sorry. You may continue.
You don't have a secret bad guy, do you? That you didn't tell me.
No. He was he is a bad guy.
Okay, no, but, you're not gonna tell me Yahweh is the actual bad guy in this, right? Because I know for a fact that you're a devout Christian, and you wouldn't do
that. No, I did not have no epic twist like that.
No, but I do mention Yahweh and Jesus in this. I don't refer to them in any harsh light. They're mostly portrayed as positive characters. They're okay. Anyways, I want to get to that later, considering that that touches on things outside of Torch and his family. Totek Tezca. The third character was the king, and I am referring to him as Quetzalcoatl. Now, this is one that most people know off the top of their heads. They learn of this guy's name very quickly in elementary school. So, if they see the word Quetzalcoatl, they know how to pronounce it.
Yes.
I didn't think I had to abbreviate that one. I abbreviated the other four. Not Totek, but Tezca. I'm just calling him Tezca. I'm not calling him Tezcatlipoca because I know that's a lot for people. But Tezca is pretty easy to remember.
Mm-hmm.
It is literally Aztec if you spell it different. If you rearrange the letters.
Yes.
Quetzalcoatl is the god of life, light, wisdom, and by the way, your four gods. I don't know if you did this in your research, but I noticed that Huitzilopochtli, I pronounced that one wrong, does actually have three brothers, and they represent the cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did not see that.
Okay, so I based these off of those gods.
Okay.
So it kind of becomes a little bit more unified. Quetzalcoatl becomes the mentor for Totek. Now, he hears about what's going on, and he travels to his village, to his town. Now, Quetzalcoatl is considered a wise old man, and he doesn't enter too many times. He mostly spends his time in our world, having entered a body.
Okay.
He normally doesn't banish himself because he considers himself a spout of wisdom. He considers himself to be a way to inspire the people of the world. And so he usually takes the form of he usually enters a priest.
Okay.
It's the priest's entire life, basically. There's the priest will never ever have Quetzalcoatl be banished from him until the moment of his death, essentially.
Okay.
Now,
okay, I totally forgot. Okay, I totally forgot to actually mention this when I gave my when I gave my story last episode. Okay, just a quick reminder. Try to remind me, and then I'll tell you why that is kind of a flaw in this world. But I'll get to that at the end.
You might want to tell me now because they're kind of important.
Okay, well, I totally forgot to mention this in the last
Are
episode.
the other two brothers already dead?
No. No, they're not dead. They're
okay.
They're in their world, in their pocket world. They're not coming back to our world. No, the thing I did not mention is that when they banish themselves, I didn't mention this. When they banish themselves, they're locked out from our world for half a year. Thing is, the longer they stay in a body, the more consequence they have to pay for that. So if they stay in there for a year, then that's about 2 years they're locked out of our world. They stay in there for...
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, the longer they stay in the body, the longer they're locked out. I mean, it's not like 1 year, 2 years thing. That's just an example. But there's a flat half a year kind of that's the payment you have to pay for. There's no negotiating that. But that price does get higher the longer you stay in a body. But again, I forgot to mention that. So I guess in this world, technically that doesn't exist.
Okay, that's fine. Quetzalcoatl doesn't do that.
It's cool. I'll just erase that from, at least for this episode.
That's fine. So he doesn't do that. But he is kind of important, and I'll mention him later.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep him in mind. Alright, Quetzalcoatl is considered to be one of the fastest of them, considering he is the god of the winds. And here's the thing. Each god represents a different cardinal direction, and that direction's wind. With the exception of Quetzalcoatl, he does represent his direction, but he also represents the other three.
That's a bit weird, but okay.
Because he's the king one, that's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wait, you make him the main character?
No, he's not the main character. He's a mentor. He's like Odin. He doesn't do anything.
Oh, okay.
It's like, what? Thor's only the prince. What? Because I made the most popular one, the main one? I'm not gonna do that to you. It's not like he's gonna be the main one for long anyways. Hey-o!
Oh, God.
The fourth one, I'm renaming Eula. That's the Zala's one. Eula the Flayed, whose original name is Zipitotek, or Eulahan, which I'm basically it's just short for Eulahan. Eulahan. Eulahan, or Eula, is the god of force, seasons, and rebirth. Eula can enter humans this is actually a special one for Eula. I don't know how your rules work exactly, but I wanted to give Eula an exception because of how Eula actually operates in their original mythology. Eula is one of the few gods, well, not few, but there's others, but Eula is the primary god in which you do not sacrifice your own people to Eula. You sacrifice other people to Eula.
Okay.
People who are sacrificed to Eula are people from other, are slaves, and people from other villages. And so then I thought Eula's special power was that Eula can enter the bodies of people who do not want Eula in their body. Which means that Eula cannot enter the bodies of people who are willing to accept Eula. It's a reversal on that.
Okay.
And so then Eula's important though. Here's the thing. Eula's ritual can only be performed in Eula's temple. It cannot be performed anywhere else. In order to do so, the innards of that person must be removed, and Eula basically actually wears them. So
Oh,
Eula doesn't
gross.
appear. Yeah, when Eula enters a body, Eula doesn't actually appear as like the person. They appear as like a zombie essentially.
Okay.
The power of. Okay, I'm gonna get back to this in just a second. That's how Eula's power operates. Now Eula is kind of creepy when it comes to Eula's personality, considering the weird implications of how he operates and works. Eula tends to wear dead people, even if he's already a zombie, so he really likes to do that. He's very disrespectful of the living and the dead. Even though he's a god of rebirth and change, he's very disrespectful of the actual process. He actually ends up wearing Tezuka's skin at some point, just to kind of like further show that he doesn't really care, even if it's his own brother.
Mm-hmm.
I did introduce a character. She was kind of important to. Well, I mean, in my notes I did. She doesn't really do anything for this story, so I'll just ignore it. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Lucy and how I kind of wanted to perceive Lucy.
Okay.
So I'm really excited for this because I hope this is what you were thinking, and if it's not, then well, I'm hoping this is what you're thinking. So
Okay.
I knew that you already wanted Lucy to have been responsible for the deaths of the Norse, Greek, and Egyptian gods, right?
Somewhat, yes.
Okay, so she's somewhat responsible for this. Now, here's the thing. Lucifer is special because of how Lucifer was created and how Lucifer operates. Now, in the original stories of Lucifer in Paradise Lost and other source materials, Lucifer basically wanted to be God Jr. Lucifer kind of wanted to do his own thing, or her own thing, and kind of just wanted to create. Now, Yahweh doesn't like this. Doesn't want Lucifer to be God Jr. And this is the point where God is like, you know what, Lucy? How about I just banish you instead, and you just go to hell? You can have your own little world there. Do whatever you want there. It's not like you can do anything. And so then Lucy ends up there. Now, this is going to tie in with other pantheons. You're going to notice this in a second. Now, Lucy is there for a while, and then she notices somebody shows up. It's Oranos. Oranos shows up, and Lucy talks to Oranos and is like, what are you doing here? He's like, I was killed by my son Cronus. It's like, oh, that's very unusual. I didn't know the gods could die. Yeah, you'd be surprised. Yeah, gods can kill other gods. Ah, that's fascinating. I didn't know that. I thought we were immortal. No, you'd be surprised. We're really not. So this is the first seed of like Lucy kind of understands that gods can die.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Lucy asks Oranos, "How did you get killed?" Well, it was more of a revolt between my 6 kids. So it takes multiple people to revolt in order to overpower you. Yeah, that's basically how it works. Fascinating. Okay. Time passes by. Kronos has entered this dimension.
Mm-hmm.
They ask Kronos, "What happened to you?" I was killed by my 12 children, or 6 or 12 children. 12. That's how many Olympians there were. My 12 children. How did that happen? Well, they just got together and overpowered me. Lucy's kind of like figuring this out. She's like, yes, if more gods work together, you can take down a bunch of them. And so then they kind of like try to understand what's going on in this dimension. And they realize after a while that the dimension they are in is Tartarus. Tartarus is a god in and of himself. And so then Lucy kind of understands how gods operate. And it's that gods themselves are dimensions. They're pocket dimensions in and of themselves. And so then, and this is kind of like when we wanted to do Pantheon, how Zeus wanted to kill Kronos and take his power. But Kronos would just disappear and enter other dimensions. And so then I kind of wanted Lucy to actually be successful in her plan, in having just killed Oranos and having her kill Kronos once again, in incorporating them into her personal dimension. And so then Lucifer grows and expands, and they realize that their power doesn't come from belief. Their power comes from unbelief. They gain power every time someone prays to a god that is not of the power that she owns. So if anyone ever prays to, like, if you're in the Greek pantheon, if you're a member of the Greek religion, and you pray to a god that is not Uranus or Kronos, and you actively denounce them, you are directly adding power to Lucifer. Every time that you pray to any deity that she's ever killed, you are giving power to her. And so she goes through the process of killing the Norse gods, the Greek gods, the Egyptian gods, every single deity, in hopes that one day she will be able to kill Yahweh and finally show him that she can rule her own place and be who she wants to be. And in doing so, she denounces everything that has to do with him. And so then this is one of those things where I thought it would be kind of interesting, where she just that's just how the gods die in history. It's that Lucifer represents this this like contamination of the pagan religions, of the demonization of it. She's literally the process of demonization, essentially.
Yeah.
Where like in the real world, that's how it was represented. Like that's how we would represent how that happens in the real world.
Yes.
And so then now her next goal is to do this to the Aztec gods. So she decides to send Gold, Glory, and God, who are a way of spitting in her creator's face, going so far as to even name one of these insignificant creatures God. Now, the way she does this is she actually takes 3 human beings and grants them the powers of the sins that she has given them. Now, I kind of wanted to keep Lucifer as having one of the sins. I wanted her to keep gluttony, considering that she wants to consume so many of the other gods.
Okay.
And so that would be the only sin that is taken away from one of them, and that would be the plague doctors, the god one. He still keeps envy and greed. The gold one still keeps lust and sloth. And Glory still keeps wrath and pride. And so then, this is where I kind of was thinking I was kind of clever. Not really, maybe not. But, the God's character... hold on. Okay. So Eula, upon, gathering, realizes that we need to find a way to stop these guys, right? From destroying our village, and our villages, our land. And so then Eula's like... I can possess people that don't want to be possessed. If we can just get at least one of them 3. Just one of them. I can take them over and take their power. And it's like, do you think we can do that? I mean, it's worth a try. And if I'm not successful, I'll just banish myself before things get too bad. And it's like, okay. And so then they go and try to get God. And I don't know how they're going to do this. Your story, you figure it out. They successfully get God into the... They successfully get God into the temple, and they're about to get into him, but he turns the tides on them, essentially. And you see him stabbing into Eula and tearing Eula apart. And then we realize that anybody in the temple can do this. Anybody in the temple can do the ritual of Yuala Juan. And so then God's like, hey, if anybody can do it, then I can do it to you too. And so then he does. Well, it's not anybody. It's like if Eula can do it to somebody, somebody can do it to Eula. And so then God does this to Eula, and he now is powerful enough to move the ritual outside of the temple. Because he's got the power of, he's got a subset of the power of Lucifer on him as well. And so then, doing this, he does it to Quetzalcoatl. He gains Quetzalcoatl's powers and his appearance, and now he parades himself all over the Aztec land and declares himself as Quetzalcoatl. The human being that became God is known as Herman Cortez. The guy who literally did that in history. So how about that? Oh my god. Okay, so I know you might veto this, and I understand completely. And I'm pretty sure the entering and banishing thing is probably meant to have some sort of big story element to it. But
Yeah.
I think I found a way around
Oh, okay.
it. So I want you to not describe it to me, but like I'm going to describe it back to you and tell me if this is wrong or if I'm missing something.
Okay.
So when I'm going to say torch, okay? I'm going to use torch as an example. I want to say Totek because I don't like saying torch. So in Totek, he's a spirit, right? Or no?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yes by technicality or yes?
Yes, by technicality.
Why is he not a spirit?
I don't have the words to explain it. It's because a spirit, I just think of a soul, and that's it. But it's more than just his soul. In our world, it's its physical. It's its own body trying to come into our world, but can't. It's like the physics of our world doesn't let him have a solid form.
Okay,
so
good.
It's
okay,
best
so
interpreted as a spirit.
Okay, no, this is perfect. Yeah, that's how that works. All right. So there's a certain subset of humans who go through a similar process. They're called Nagwals. Nagwals are born from the conception of a human being and an Aztec god. I mean, it doesn't have to be it, but that's what I thought would work for this, which would explain why they have this weird ability. Now, Nagwals have two souls and two bodies. The bodies can only here's the thing, they have one consciousness, two souls, two bodies. The way this works is at any one given moment they can have human soul, human body, and their consciousness. Their consciousness is interchangeable between the two. Or they can have animal body, animal spirit, and their consciousness. Now they can flip-flop between the two. Now the thing is though is that their body cannot be physical unless the soul exists in the physical realm. And so if the human soul is in the world, the soul adapts a human body. If the soul is an animal soul, the soul accommodates matter by making a animal body. I kind of had to say it like this because I wanted to kind of tie it in with your thing and also kind of just not just make it sound like it's a werewolf because it's basically what it is.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to explain how werewolves would be very beneficial to this. Also, Nagwals don't just turn into wolves; they can turn into crocodiles, jaguars, armadillos. Usually things that aren't wolves. Just pointing that out there.
Wait,
I want to let you know that in mythology, Totek, Huitzilopochtli, does have a Nagwal, and it's an eagle. But I thought it'd be kind of cool if, like, the rules of entering and banishing kind of, like, get flip-flopped on this if he enters a Nagwal. Because then a Nagwal, human Nagwal, can forcefully banish or pull another soul as long as they're already tied to that body. And so then I was thinking it would be kind of cool if, like, this is a later thing. It wouldn't be like a thing that you do early on because it's something that just wasn't thought of before. Where Totek kind of bonds himself to a Nagwal. The Nagwal banishes him without Totek's consent. And then Totek just doesn't understand what's going on. Since he didn't technically banish himself, he's not restricted to the rules of the half a year thing. But he doesn't know how to enter back. And so then the human being that he's bonded with pulls him back in and doesn't understand himself how come he's tied to this god. And so this becomes a problem because it's like this three souls thing in one body. And it's very confusing for them.
Yeah.
And so then I thought that would be a clever way of kind of like getting around the entering and banishing thing. And I don't know if Lucy can like detect his soul or anything, but the way that this would work is if he's banished, he wouldn't be detectable. So it would be a perfect way of hiding for him. Because then he can just do combat as Totek, and then just bounce, and now he's just a regular old Nagwal.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody questions the Nagwal, he's like, I can just turn into an eagle. That's all I can do. I'm sorry.
Okay.
If that was too confusing or if that was stupid, I understand completely.
It's a bit weird. That's not something I would have thought of.
And you're not gonna do it because it totally goes against your stupid rules.
I mean, yes, not because of the whole creature part of turning into a creature thing. It's just that usually the banishment and the entering is something only specifically. It can only be done specifically by the Aztec gods because of their situation. But again, this is a different kind of world, so I mean, things can be changed.
I think that's all I had to cover for yours, to be honest.
That was it?
That was it. I didn't go into...
I thought you were gonna go into, like, the full story, leading up all the way to Lucy or something.
No, that's your job, not mine.
Okay.
I just write the bullet points. You fill in the blanks. Then I rewrite the what did you call it? Dialogue.
Sorry.
No, that's just usually how we do curse quests. We just come up with bullet points together. You fill in the blanks, and then I just redo the dialogue. This should be familiar to you, David, already.
But I was gonna say, so you took the whole game aspect out of this?
Well, I feel like the moment that his brother dies, like look, David, I'm just saying, if I was playing a game with a friend on the couch, they are there with you, and your buddy dies, like for realsies, on screen and on the couch at the same time.
Okay.
And you look to your friend and you realize, oh, this isn't a game anymore. Apparently, if you die in the game, you die in real life. It's like that kind of vibe to me. Like if my friend died that way while we were playing a game, I would not treat it as a game anymore. It's real now. I'm sorry.
No, yeah. I mean, in my story, he doesn't treat it as a game. You know, after his brother dies, it's like, this is technically not a game for them. This is just something they can play with. They know that, you know, of course, they know they can die. They never thought they would die because the only thing able to kill them would have been one of their brothers. And I mean, typically brothers don't kill brothers, you know, in the normal world.
I don't know how to tell you that. Okay, so the character that I left out was his sister. Now, his sister tried to kill him while he was inside of his mom when she was pregnant, because for some reason they didn't want her to have this son. And so then she, Quilu... I don't remember her name. I'm not looking at the word.
Okay.
I wrote it down. Hold on. Coyolxauhqui.
Okay.
So, Coyolxauhqui is the moon goddess. She tried to kill Huitzilopochtli before he was born, because she simply didn't want him to exist. She tried to abortion him. Now, if that's not trying to kill your own brother, I don't know what that is. She not only did that, but had the help of 400 people. Now, before she could get her hands on her mom, by the way, she wanted to kill her mom and her brother, not just one of them, but both of them.
Okay.
Before she can get to her and him, Huitzilopochtli comes out of his mom's womb, completely in armor, ready to fight, kills his sister, chops off her arms and her legs, and throws her carcass into the sky, and that is the moon.
Oh. Like I said, in the normal world, brothers don't kill brothers.
So just because it was a sister, it's different?
But, no, yeah. Oh God. See, when you do research, you go really deep into it. I just like try to skim through things and try to get, you know, just quick information. Uh, yeah, I did not know this. Um, uh, yeah, wow. But no, he stops treating it. He stops treating it as a game, or he's no longer playing a game once Mask dies. It's not like, oh, okay, now time to turn this into like an open road RPG. Let me walk out there. Like, no, I mean, he's taking this seriously. Like, okay, game is completely over since I lost, my the person I was playing with. I'm gonna go find these people, hopefully kill them, hopefully painfully, and go back home.
So I kind of imagine like uh, how he's like treats it as a game and then kind of treats it seriously afterwards. Now the way I'm imagining it is like it's like he's Wolverine and his brother is Sabretooth and they're like acting. Like, they're live action role playing. He's like, come on, bub, I got you. Come over here, I'm gonna get you. And then his brother actually dies, and he just like, oi, this just happened. And then breaks into his actual accent of Hugh Jackman. That doesn't sound like Hugh Jackman. That was like very, very stereotypical Australian voice. Oi, mate, what you doing on my land? Who are you? You bloke call yourself God. You know God. Before I do anything that's culturally insensitive any longer. So next time will be our will be December 12th. We're gonna be doing we haven't decided what episode we're gonna be doing yet. So
we'll add that at the end.
I'm not gonna come up with it on the fly now.
You add that at the end. In the outro.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to know what episode
outro.
we do or what the next episode is going to be, stay till to the very end, and you'll find out.
Wait until you hear our outro. I'm not going to promise you it's going to be something Christmas related, but it's December 12th. It might be Christmas related, or winter related, or snow related, or Frozen related, or Disney related. I've never watched Frozen.
Oh, don't worry, we're on the same boat here.
It's okay. I don't think it's probably not good.
Oh.
Or maybe it is. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna watch it, so hopefully we don't do anything.
I'm not
Frozen
gonna watch
related.
it either.
I mean, no. But no. I mean, maybe something special. I don't know. I don't know if we have any good Christmas thing ideas, any good ones. But we'll see what happens.
Yay! Well, David, it was a pleasure working with you today. I'm really glad that I'm done with the doctor's appointment.
Oh, it kind of started sounding like you're like dismissing yourself permanently. We're like, whoa, it was a pleasure working with you. It's like, wait, whoa. When did this become just the David show?
Please don't try to run a podcast on your own. It's just awkward. It's probably going to be really awkward.
It would be extremely awkward.
I don't know. I mean, there's probably somebody out there who does a podcast with themselves and they just talk to themselves.
Yeah. No, I don't think that would work.
Hey, yo, hey, yo, guys, it's Fritz, the schizophrenic. I'm here to talk today with my friend Carlos. Hey, hey, Fred, how you doing? Yeah. Okay, I'm done. I'm not gonna do that anymore. Alright. See you guys next week, considering I don't know how to do an appropriate goodbye anymore. I'm just gonna blame that on that I'm sick.
You can't blame every week on that you're sick. So we're gonna have to try and come up with a good little outro thing. But like,
no, I actually am sick right now though, David. Like, I know you can't tell, but like I'm dying on the inside. That's a lie. I actually feel very, very a very slight discomfort. Like on a scale of 1 to 10 on the pain meter, I've got like a 1. More like a 0.5. It's not painful. It's just uncomfortable. 0.25.
Is it as painful
Bye, guys.
as if is it more painful what you're feeling now than if we were to do the Fantastic Four thing now? Hello? Hello?
Bye, Dave. I don't want to talk about the Fantastic Four.
Okay.
It'll be a cold day in hell.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Hey guys, this is David again. Thank you for listening to our 4th episode. As a quick reminder, we are going to be uploading our episodes every 2 weeks just to give us time to create proper and good stories to tell in our shows. Also, if you want to follow our show, you can do so at Infinite Canvas on Twitter. And if you want to follow our own personal accounts, for me, you can do so at @cc_Foz. And for John, it will be at JohnnyVE3. And you can also follow our webcomic series on Twitter as well at Sci-Star Comics. And if you want to read our comic series, you can do so at Sci-Star.net. Now, thank you again for listening to our show. If you're listening to us on iTunes, please leave a comment, rate us, share it to get our show out there, and hopefully we can do this more and get a proper, more higher quality show out of this. Now, for our next episode, we're going to do a little bit something special as well and try to see if we can put a little bit more of the holiday season in our 5th episode. So, thank you again for listening to this episode and get ready for the next one.